Hello, our friends, Evolutionary Energy Arts family. She tried to do it to me. I gave her the mic, and it was like, all right, here we go. And then she sticks it away from her mouth and into mine.
It's never quite the same, though. It's always funner when he does it to me.
So, La Soufriere has blown its stack. As you see here, this is the first time it's erupted since 1979. So, yeah, 42 years. Big eruption, actually up to 8 kilometers high. And that, well, you're going to have ash coming down. The wind is carrying it over towards Barbados. Beautiful area, just gorgeous area. You got to realize these paradise islands, they are formed by volcanic processes, and here we go.
Yes, they are stunning but dangerous.
Yeah, so you have evacuation of pretty much the whole island. Yeah, I was just thinking of a comment that our friend Raven made this morning, as they are using cruise ships to evacuate people. It's signs of the times that we are in. So yes, mandatory evacuations are underway, guys. And this is a big one. It's a huge, huge volcano. As we see here, it takes an explosive turn, and 42 years. Now, it has erupted before in the past, and since 1900, you have 2 eruptions of a VEI 3 and 4, and they lasted a while. So, the people may not be able to go back to their homes for quite a while.
That is just so sad. I couldn't imagine that.
Well, I guess we could, because we basically,
homeless.
yeah, I mean, we kind of are. We're kind of nomads right now ourselves. As Etna lights up the sky, mud pools hold clues to what it does next. Yeah, Etna has been very busy. Actually, right now we have 23 volcanoes going on right now. You have new activity for 6 volcanoes and ongoing for 17. And we'll watch Pele and we'll watch Vesuvius for those of you that are followers of the great Edgar Cayce.
Yes, I do love Edgar Cayce.
So it's really, everything is winding up, and I think the one thing we could see more consistently is it's going to be getting chillier. You got more particulates in the air. It's going to be reflecting sunlight out, and BG wants to accelerate that process for whatever means he really wants to do. Well, I think we know. All-time April low could fall in Alaska City. And so you get the wild swings, but the wild swings are going to be tending to head towards the colder side over time. And as we were talking about yesterday, they're talking about this grand solar minimum period lasting like 50 years.
Yeah, that's really quite a while.
Yes, for a large amount of the people out there, this is what you got to look forward to. Now, of course, there's just so many different lines of thinking on when are we going to get out of this muck and mire. And, of course, sooner is much better than later.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, we do prefer sooner for sure.
So you have Alaska setting records. We have Antarctic cold blasts bringing snow and sub-zero temperatures to southeast Australia. And we have many family members in Australia and New Zealand. And we have been hearing from them, again, the wild swings, yes, but some abnormal cold settling in.
Yeah, the cold is that's the constant theme.
Rare April snow falls in Brussels after unusually warm weather in Belgium. And, we've been talking about the artificial flavoring as well with all of this. And, most of us, I think, understand that the technology is there. And there was a comment today, too, saying, like, okay, if you have an overabundance of rain, too much rain, in an area that's only, maybe 300-400 miles, 500 miles away from an area that's in extreme drought, how do we not in this time period have the technology to somehow divert it, utilize it? I mean, if the Romans way, way back, a couple thousand years ago, had built such an wonderful waterway system with their aqueducts. Why aren't we doing something positive? You know, I mean, how hard could it be? When you have the technology, you have countries like China just talking openly about their ability to control the weather, and we've seen, so many declassified documents on that, as well as other, technologies that make you think, why are we even using fossil fuels at all? Why, when there's anti-gravity tech out there that we know exists? Cindy and I have had more than one encounter with something that is most definitely not using typical combustion engines. The TR3B that we just saw recently, or it's probably a more newer, modern version of that, definitely had anti-gravity. And we had a fighter jet in Nevada flying right next to us once, and it was only about 8 feet off the ground, and it was silent. And I gotta think they were testing that technology over there, on the base in Nevada as well. So we see Belgium had 13 stations break local monthly temperature records from March 30th, as most of Northwest Europe also hit record levels. It's just crazy. And talk about craziness. Japan saying, sorry, but we're going to have to dump more Fukushima radioactive water into the Pacific Ocean.
Yeah, I don't understand this, but in a way I do, because the controllers, they control everything and they know what they're doing.
I started to look at the news today, and it hit me that I really looked through a certain lens. And we were talking about looking through a certain lens. Like if you're, say, fundamentalist, you're going to view everything from a certain way. Everything, you're going to see demons at every corner, in every little dark place in the room. With us, maybe we're seeing ETs and interdimensional beings every little where behind the scenes. There were some interesting photos I saw of the current power that be apparent in this country, JB, so to speak. And, we've seen some weird photos of him as well, where, it looks like he changes, he morphs, it gets overshadowed. There was like strange things in some of these photos that were popping out of his like jacket, kind of like people were talking about different technology. They were also talking about movies like Aliens, where they're actually in the body. Kind of gross stuff. But this world is really crazy right now. Can't we see how wild everything is?
Everything is totally different from just even 5 years ago.
It has accelerated tremendously. I keep going back to the first of two X marks the spot eclipses. It just seems like since August 2017, everything went just haywire. And Lawrence Livermore researchers testing out nuclear blast defense against Earth-threatening asteroids. And we do know that's going to be one of the things, there's been tons of asteroid sightings, fireball sightings. They have continued. They're there every single day. There's more and more, it seems, all the time. And we know there's the line of thinking that they're going to, tell us that there's a big one coming, and we all have to, band together and create that one world government, or maybe even ask the aliens for help, and they're going to roll them out. Mm-hmm. There's nothing, I don't think, that would surprise hardly any of us now, don't you think?
No, I think we're all pretty conditioned. It's going to be the reality of stuff setting in, though. I think that's the last step.
They are fearful of how people are going to handle things. And here there's a pyramid-shaped UFO, and I'll give you guys the links. That's pretty wild. This is, again, something connected with the Navy, U.S. Navy. Pyramid UFOs swarming U.S. Navy destroyer. Amazing video, collection of photos of spherical craft swarming a U.S. Navy destroyer were allegedly part of a classified briefing conducted to destigmatize the UAP problem. So, we rename it UAP instead of UFO because UFO, for so long, UFO would go with woo-woo, right? But now we have to make it legit because, they are going to make it legit. And then, of course, we have those that think there are no aliens. They're all just fallen angels. And, that just, it gets me shaking my head, because of course there's other life out there. And, life is abundant. That's obvious. And if we look to the past, we look at societies all around the globe, they talk about knowing this and seeing this. Seeing this for themselves. They knew there's beings that are coming here in actual craft from other places. They understood all that, as we talked about, from the Hindu Vedic tradition. They know of hundreds of thousands of humanoid species that exist in our galaxy. This was common knowledge. The only reason why we have this, demons and angels and there's nothing else is because of really the church. That's what they've taught. Because, they had to make you think that you only live once. You don't come back and do it again. And that they hold the keys to heaven and earth. And so you got to give them all power. It's pretty simple, pretty obvious. We just have to really just take a peek at it without a biased opinion. And we do see there's so many things that are pointing to a certain direction. Heart failure and stroke rates on the rise for men under 40. I wonder if it could do with, well, there's a lot of things. But also, lack of exercise, or, it always kills me to see somebody out there, trudging away like crazy, and they can't breathe properly. And you guys know why. And they're out there jogging or running or sprinting, We have to expel CO2. Oh, we need oxygen. It's just simple. Global fertility rate. Are we heading towards a population crash? Yeah, when we go out and we look at countries like Japan, and they're shrinking at a rapid rate. So is Europe. So is the U.S. The U.S. just recently set the all-time record as far as low fertility. So now, instead of this population boom and the planet's going to be just overpopulated, it's going in reverse. Interesting how that works.
It is really curious. I mean, things are just insane.
They are. And in fact, we have over here a grim view of global future offered in an intelligence report. And it's just basically going over kind of everything that we see, and to me, it seems obvious. Now, why would the leadership of the globe be getting an F in school? Because they would be. If we're looking at, how effective, how good are things really, really going, and we're looking at grading the leadership of the globe, they're failing miserably. So they want us to trust them more? They what's the answer? Give them more ability to control things, more power? They're flunking. They're doing probably a worse job than you could do if you really tried to do a bad job.
Well, it's kind of like they're going to ask us, well, can we take over power? Do you mind? And then if we're like, yes, we mind, they're just going to take power anyway.
Yeah, it's again that illusion, and many people are waking up to the illusion of things and looking through different lenses. But don't worry, because, don't worry, guys. We're all going to have a wonderful future if we get the Neuralink. Then we could just sit there and play Pong all day without even having to use our hands at all. As this monkey has gotten the Neuralink and had it put in his brain. And now, this is what he does all day. He plays Pong. So, that's that brilliant, bright future that they have planned.
Isn't that fun?
It is. So it's time to wake up as many people as possible. Obviously, what we see going on right now is not going in humanity's direction. It's not going in the positive direction for any of the creatures on this planet. So we need change. We need real change. And that just starts, one person, one family, one town, one community at a time.
Yep, it starts with you, actually.
Most definitely. Making changes. And I know there's so many of you out there that have changed the way that you do things, changed your diet, changed your exercise habits, have adopted practices like yoga and Qigong and meditation, trying to not become like this poor guy playing Pong all day long with the Neuralink inside his brain, trying to actually utilize abilities that lie dormant in most people, but are awakening right now. And that's the good news. Things are changing. We can affect and we can change our reality if we could just wake up enough people.
Most definitely, you guys.
So I want to thank you for being part of this family. Thanks for your support on Ko-Fi and Patreon. We couldn't do it without you. And as always, stay prepared. God bless and namaste. And Cindy's going to give us a ding.
God bless and namaste.